Hey, what's going on? My name is Carlos. So today I'm going to be going over the different ways to wholesale real estate and going over what is good and what is bad about each one and letting you determine which one is best for you. Because wholesaling real estate is not hard, but it's also not easy, especially if you don't know what you're doing or what you need to implement. And depending on where you are actually in life, right? Some people have high equity, no time. Some people have no equity and a lot of time, meaning that they have cash to invest or they don't have cash to invest, or they have a lot of time on their hands, they don't have a lot of time on their hands. So depending on what you are and the way you are in your life is going to determine the best place for you to be when it comes to what market strategy you actually pick from. So we have four market strategies here. We have DTA means direct to agent. DTS means direct to seller. I put a little I on there for inbound leads. DTM is direct to market. So this would be like MLS stuff. DTSO would be direct to seller, outbound outreach. So meaning, the O and the I. Inbound would be like your pay per click, your Facebook ads, your YouTube ads, that kind of stuff, your TV ads, your let's say your bandit signs, like all of that to where you're putting something out there for people to call you and say they want to sell their property versus direct to seller O would be like you cold calling homeowners, pulling a list, dialing that list, calling the foreclosures, calling the probates, calling the ones that are back on taxes, all that kind of stuff. My personal two favorite is going to be direct to agent and direct to market, meaning like MLS stuff. Reason being is because it has no money spent. The only one that actually does have money spend, like marketing dollars or invested capital first, is going to be your direct to seller inbound leads. Um, it's an extremely good business model, and overall, like, it's probably one of the best ways if you have the money, and you have the time, so there you have a team maybe, to do that for you. So overall, I think it's a great strategy. I mean, especially if you wanna make a lot of money, but you also have to invest a lot of money. So that's the only downfall. It's like, let's say you invest, $40,000 in a month and you only close like 20 grand worth of deals. Did you really make 20 grand? No, you actually lost 20 grand. So that's why it's very vital so you know exactly what you're doing and how you're marketing and what your marketing techniques and strategies are. Because if your marketing is not dialed in, then you're going to have a serious problem because your overhead is going to be your downfall. So this is why I always recommend if you're new, if you're just starting out, I want you to pay attention to the direct to agent and the direct to market, meaning MLS, because that is going to have the least time spent and no money spent involved. So a couple of things to go over on this chart here. Obviously, I went over money spent and time spent. This one down here on this axis is going to be your money profit potential, and this is going to be your time back potential, right? Nobody wants to be stuck in hustle and grind mode their whole entire life. You eventually want to get buy some of your time back. So the only way you're going to be able to do that is between three of these strategies, which is going to be direct to agent, direct to seller inbound, and direct to market. Direct to seller outbound is not going to get you any time back because you're always constantly chasing that next deal. You're always constantly chasing that next seller and vice versa. So that is going to be my least recommended strategy, which is going to be direct to seller outbound. But let's go ahead and go over them from the top. So direct to agent is going to be our blue line, which you can see if it starts here, goes this way, goes this way. It makes a good triangle this way, that has nothing above, so there's no money spent. There's still a great potential of money profit. You end up getting your time back over time, and you maybe start with a lot of time spent, but the longer you're doing it, the more consistent you're doing it, this is actually going to start dialing back a little bit. It's never going to go to the zero because you're always going to have to do something, right? But it might dial back from a four to an eight on a scale of one to 10. Now, when it comes to time back, the more this dials back, this should naturally be compounding more this way. So you're not going to start off all the way out here. You might start off you're at zero, right, for everything. But when you start actually investing your time into it, this is going to start dialing back and this is going to start dialing this way. Now, your profit can always, it's going to, dif- you know, differentiate from different times, different seasons of the market, and also different properties, different deals, different situations, right? Not everybody makes 20, 40 grand on every single wholesale deal. You might make a 5, a 3, a 10, a 15, a 40, a 80. Like it always ranges, right? But when it comes to direct to agent, the reason why I want to start with that one first is because it's the one that's going to take probably one of the longest times outside of direct to seller outbound, which is like cold calling. The reason being is because you're spending a lot of time outreaching to agents looking for their deals and building trust with them, right? When you're working with agents, it's all about your trust. with them and also your relationship because this is gonna be a thing that's going to reproduce fruit over and over and over and over again. It's gonna be something that's going to compound. So that's why I said there's gonna be less time spent because eventually you're gonna have so many relationships with agents that they're gonna start bringing you deals, which is gonna save you time looking for deals, right? And maybe it gives you an opportunity to dive into direct to seller inbound or use a little bit of time for it to spend on the market, that kind of stuff. I never again recommend you to do direct seller outbound because these other three options are so much better than just cold calling. It's kind of like the old traditional route, which a lot of people still teach. I personally don't teach it. The only type of direct seller that I'll teach you is to go after expired listings because they already said, "Hey, I want to sell my property, but something happened and it didn't sell." Or my agent was terrible, or I just didn't like my offers, or I didn't understand my offers, right? So that's where we come into play with those direct to seller leads, and those are extremely profitable because you cut out any fee or anything they thought they would have had to pay when it come with an agent. So if they were thinking about paying, 2.5% commission, we just wipe that off the table and say, don't worry about that. Don't worry about your closing costs. Don't worry about any of that stuff. It goes back into traditional direct to seller. But this way you at least know they were already motivated from the start up to some point. So direct to agent, reaching out to agents a lot, right? These properties are still gonna be off market for the majority of the time. You never want them to put you on a flex MLS drip campaign, meaning that they're just scraping the MLS and trying to bring you potential deals that are out there. You only want them to bring stuff that is theirs, somebody in their office or somebody that they know. So that way you don't waste their time and you also don't waste your time because you already should be offering on some of these on market properties when we get to DTM, which is direct to market. So next one is going to be direct to seller inbound leads. So this is going to be your pay per click, your Facebook ads, your Google ads, your YouTube ads, your TV ads, your newspapers, your billboards, your let's say your bandit signs, that kind of stuff. Right? If you're doing bandit signs, like the price is going to be down here. But if you're running like a solid like PPC campaign, direct mailers, that kind of stuff, your cost is going to start rising and going up. Um, but you want to make sure you have it dialed in because if you don't have it dialed in, this is gonna be up and this is never gonna go down. You're never gonna get to that money profit. You're never gonna actually profit money. You're gonna consistently be pumping money into marketing, and the systems are gonna be just eating your money up, and you're never gonna be getting anything back. Or you're gonna be getting people that are looking for an agent, not someone for a cash investor. So you wanna make sure that your keywords for your SEO, which is your search engine optimization, is actually dialed in. Because if it's not, you're gonna be stuck in that loop of just putting money in, and before you know it, you spent 50, 100 grand that year in marketing, and you might have only got like 2 deals and brought in like 60 grand. So at the end of the year, you lost $40,000 that year, which is not a good business, um, in anybody's opinion. I was gonna say my opinion, but really anybody knows that's a terrible business. So don't be that guy. Make sure you have it dialed in. The plus side to this though is that time spent already starts off really low, right? Um, and the reason why it's so low is because you're not out here actually looking for deals. You've already put a sign out and said, "Hey, I want to buy something." And someone goes, "Hey, I want to sell something," and then like a dot gets connected between the two. So you only got the only time spent you have in there is talking to the leads that are coming in, nurturing those leads that are coming in, following up with those leads that are coming in, that kind of stuff. But your profit margin is going to be much larger because these are going to be deals that are already off market, right? You're talking to people, not real estate professionals. Granted, most agents don't know how to comp, but sellers, obviously, if they're not in the real estate business, they have no idea how to value their property. They have nothing like that. So this is where you see a lot of people being unethical and really like abusing and taking advantage of sellers. But at the same time, they're trying to profit for their business. And this is where I always say to make sure you're having service before self. Make sure you understand the problem with the sellers, right? And then you're going to get paid the value that you bring. So if you ask the seller, "Hey, what do you want for the property?" and they say, "If I can at least get $80,000, I'd be happy." Right? And you run your numbers, you're like, "Okay, I can give them 80, but I can probably wholesale this for 160." Like, I'm gonna do that. I'm not taking advantage of the seller at that point because they told me what they wanted, and I'm giving them what they wanted. Now I get to profit on what's left over because I know my numbers, compared to somebody that's like, they say, "Hey, I at least wanna get, 120 for my property," and you're like, "Well, I know I can sell for 160," and you're like, "Hey, would you do 80 grand on that?" And it's like, you probably could have made $40,000 unless you only had like 10 grand in marketing. You were already up 30 grand. Maybe you can come down a little bit off the 120 just so you can like, get a little bit more, but to come down that far is just really greedy. So you don't want to be that guy. So make sure, or girl, whoever you are, right? So make sure you have your marketing dialed in. know that your profits are gonna be, much higher, but also don't forget to take consideration how much money you have to spend to get those leads. Make sure your cost per lead is way down, right? And then obviously you're getting time back because you don't have to sit down on the phones all day long. You'll know when you get a lead, maybe your CRM will go ding ding or hey, new lead, or you get a notification from Go High Level or whatever system you're using. It says, hey, we got a new lead coming in, connect with them, that kind of stuff, right? This next one is going to be direct to market. So this is going to be my favorite personally because this is what I started with. I didn't start with direct to agent. Dude, didn't well, I did start with direct to seller for 2 weeks. I was cold calling, doing outbound, and I hated every minute of my life with it. So I don't recommend that. But direct to market, meaning the MLS, has always been my go-to. We made our first 6 figures on the MLS, and we've made multiple, multiple, multiple 6 figures on the MLS. Actually, we broke over $500,000 just on the MLS in under 2 years. So, I recommend to always start with that. Why? Because there's again, there are people that are sitting here like, "I am trying to sell my property. I need some help. Something's going on," right? Maybe they have an agent that does retail, doesn't know how to work with investors, doesn't understand investment numbers, right? For instance, I do a webinar, usually on Fridays. This week is gonna be on, tomorrow, which is Wednesday, going over the foundation of the wholesale. And in that presentation, I go over a deal where it was on market for $899,000. I got it under contract at $540,000, and I sold it at $570,000, right? And that was on market, but they were listed at 899, which was just under ARV. ARV was about 950 to a million. So the agent did not know her number. She did not know what was going on. But we came in there, we explained to her what was happening, what she needed to do as an agent and how we are as investors. And we ended up getting that deal and we made, a great chunk of money. So that's why I love it because my cost was zero. So anything that I make is always going to be green. I'm never going to lose. It's always green. The only thing I can lose on is my time spent. But I know that if I make money, then my time is worth it. So, and then time back, right? The reason why you see this is the dark green line, which is right here, this is your direct to market, your time spent's less than, let's say your direct to agent or your direct to seller outbound. It's probably pretty close to, your inbound leading. But the reason why it's less is because you already go out there, you see people with their hand up that have their properties on the market want to sell versus, you waiting for a lead to come in. That's why there's a little difference there. But you see the profit comes down and it's on the lower end of profit because your average deal size is going to be less. But remember, your profit margin is what you care about in a business. You care about keeping overhead down and profits high. So if your overhead is higher than your profit, then you're not really making, even if you made $1 million that year, but you spent $900,000 in marketing, you only made 100,000 that year. That's a lot more time, energy, and money and resources than compared to no actual money spent in property investment here. Let's say you make 250,000 a year, which is extremely doable in the market. You make 250,000 a year, your overhead zero, compared to this guy who made $1 million a year. But I said he spent $800,000 that year in marketing. He's made 200, you made 250. And let's say you made 250 in 6 months and he made a million in 12 months. Who actually won? Who actually had the better end of the stick? I'm going with the guy that's on the market because he put nothing in, he risked nothing. He made a high return and he could have took 6 months off that year or maybe hired and delegated somebody to come in and fill his shoes, that kind of stuff. So that's why direct to market is phenomenal. And then it's going to also get your time back because who you're connecting with. This is where it turns into a hybrid model between direct to market and direct to agent because you are compounding these relationships, right? You're not just calling the agents for that one lead. You're calling the agent and you're following up with them to see if they have anything else coming up, anything else that they have right now. Do they know anybody else or anything, right? So this is where you start getting your time back. So this actually, so always stays about the same because you're always looking for the market stuff, right? But you start getting leads too. So now you just hybrid between both of these, right? You can't hybrid between these two, but you can hybrid this one and this one by the people you're connecting with for these properties are going to be these people and then these people are going to start bringing you leads too. So it's an awesome. It's a double-sided coin because you're getting time back. People are bringing you leads. You are going out and you're getting leads out of there. You have no overhead and you still have a high profit. I told you of deals I made 40 grand. In 1 month, I did $82,000. July of last year was my largest month ever. $82,000 with $0 in spend. That's 100% return. on my time. So, I mean, my time wasn't even that much. I maybe spent 5 hours a day, Monday through Friday. Like, it wasn't nothing crazy, right? And I actually had a team that was working with me that I trained up to do this stuff, right? My first year, I did $250,000 by myself and my wife sourcing my properties for me. So, like I said, no overhead, high profit. The next one, direct to seller, outbound, right? You see it's the green line right here. You never get time back because sellers cannot give you more properties. They usually sell one property, you got to find another seller. So you're always on the struggle bus, right? This is the hamster wheel side. Just a hamster wheeling over here. You're never making it to this side. Yeah, you can get a good return, but your time spent is always going to be the longest. So make sure that if you're just now starting out, by all means, if you want to pull a list, you want to cold call a list, you want to hire a VA to cold call a list, go for it. But just know that if you're the one making the calls and you're the one operating in your business, you're actually not in a business. You're actually just working your own job that you own. So be very wary of that and know that you're never going to get time back. So whatever money you do make from this, you definitely want to start investing into this one, or you want to start doing one of these. So if you're just starting out, my recommendation for you, start here, get some of this, make some money, put it in here, and don't worry about this at all unless you want to hire a VA to do it. So I hope this graph made sense to you guys. I know it looks like a lot up front, but I hope I explained that well. Just go out there, get leads, get deals, make money, and make the world a better place. Be honest, have integrity, service before self, and have excellence in all that you do. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. If you like this, go to mastermarketchallenge.com/the foundation of wholesale and go to my webinar that's coming up, or go to mastermarketchallenge.com and go to my challenge coming up next month. It's March 17th and March 21st. It's a 5-day live challenge where I show you how to analyze the market, different strategies to use, and how to use them in the market. We're going to go over how to have good communication skills between direct to seller, direct to agent. We're going to go over systemization on what systems to use, free ones, paid ones, how to use them, all that kind of stuff. And then day 5, we put it all together and we build you a game plan. If you want that, go to mastermarketchallenge.com. And you can also go to mastermarket.com/cornerstone, which is going to take you to a book that I wrote that goes over literally everything from A to Z between direct to seller, direct to agent, how to do it, all in a book for you, along with bonuses you can grab as well. I believe there's a market research, a deal analyzer calculator that's fully built. Any market in America has everything broke down for you. So mastermarketchallenge.com for the challenge, mastermarketchallenge.com/cornerstone for the book, and masteryourmarketchallenge.com/the foundation of wholesale. So I'll catch you in the next video. You guys take care. Stay blessed by the best. And as always, go get some leads.